About 160 years ago, a British naturalist came to Sarawak to do some research. His name was Alfred Russel Wallace. He spent about 2 years here and made some profound discoveries. Among his greatest achievements was the recognition that he co-founded the theory of evolution with Charles Darwin. And there is an invisible line named after him, the Wallace line. His book, The Malay Archipelago, still continues to attract attention up to present day. Fast forward to 2025, an artist from West Malaysia, Chang Chia, and his wife Teoh made a trip to Sarawak to retrace Wallace's footsteps. Funded by the Goethe-Institut, the couple hoped to feel and see the places Wallace had been to and to come out with a graphic novel. I was given an opportunity to bring them around, and this is the story about their journey. The first place that was related to Wallace that Yoong, Chia and Ming visited was Bukit Peninjau.
Hi, I'm Yoong Chia. This is my partner Ming. Yeah. We are here on a research trip to follow Wallace's trail, and feeling quite excited here in Bungwan or Bukit Peninjau because this is where Wallace and Ali Wallace, his assistant, stayed at a cottage further up the hill, where at night he placed a lamp onto the wall. And then, and because of that, the moths came in at night. And then he just gathered the moths.
Okay, what inspired you to carry out this mission?
Actually, I'm from KL. Mingwa is from Ipoh, so we are not we are city people lah. But during the pandemic, we moved to a small town in Tangkak, Johor, and in Tangkak you can see the Gunung Ledang from our house. And then Gunung Ledang is of course associated with the legend of Putri Gunung Ledang lah. So we were very interested in the story and the mountain, and then we researched a lot about it. And then we came across Wallace, who also in 1853 went up to Gunung Ledang. And from there we discovered that actually he co-wrote the theory of evolution with Charles Darwin, which I think not many people now knows about it. So we are also quite surprised because that means that Malaysia took a big part in the forming of the theory of evolution. And we are excited that we want to make this into our project, an art project, which we will make it into a graphic novel. I'm a full-time artist. I graduated from the Malaysian Institute of Art in 1996 and have been an artist since then. Yeah, my interest actually, I'm trained as a painter, but I like to different kinds of artworks. And recently my interest has also going towards research about Malaysian history and Malaysian nature. Yeah, today unfortunately we cannot go up all the way, but I feel if I can, if I'm fitter and the weather is better, then I should have come up but go all the way at least to James Brook Cottage. But even being here also, it feels like I'm really following Wallace's footsteps. So far that was the place that we are the closest to Wallace. And then we can imagine what he wrote because this morning I reread that section of the book, and then he described that it was a steep climb. It was like a pyramidical climb, so I think it's quite steep, and there were a lot of big rocks around. Some rocks about as big as a house. So after going there, we can really imagine because we did see some rocks that were quite big, as big as a house, literally. Yeah, even though we didn't go up to the cottage, but we got a little bit of sense of the area. So I think these experiences sort of flesh out words, because words you imagine images from the words, but when you see the actual things, then it really flashes out the image for us. Siniawan, actually, we didn't know that actually Siniawan is so close to Peninjau. We thought it was some distance away, but actually I think you can even walk from Siniawan to Peninjau. So I think because Wallace mentioned that he came up the Sararwak River to Peninjau, so he probably docked at Siniawan and then go up. And then he didn't mention Siniawan town. He mentioned that when he going up the mountain, Peninjau Hill from Siniawan, there he was stepping on coconut trunks to go up. So I think but he didn't mention the town But I think maybe he went through the town and then going straight up. Wallace came here about around 150 years ago, so obviously a lot of things has changed. And then when we came here, we researched a lot on with books and online, and all the images, photographic images, are after. So I think Sarawak is more developed after Charles broke. So there is not a lot of images available, photos available, especially of when Wallace came, which is 1854 to the beginning of 1856. So there is not a lot of images available. So I think going to places like Annah Rais, for instance, which Wallace didn't visit, but because he mentioned when he went to Bidayuh village, Dayak village in Simunjan, he mentioned their ingenious use of bamboo. They use bamboo for everything. And when we went to Annah Rais, we can see how even until now the way how the bamboo is used in their daily lives, building the longhouses, making tools out of it, we feel it's very similar to how Wallace described how they use the bamboo in those days. So for images we can't find, we try to imagine through looking at how people are using it in modern times, so that to fill up the gaps in what we can't get from the images. So for instance, the bamboo usage in Annah Rais is very helpful in that I can draw images of how the bamboo are used. For instance, he described building bridges with bamboos with X shape. So the one bamboo across and a lot of X-shaped bamboos to the ground. And then I can imagine through looking at this. Mr. Wong, he showed us to Pengkalan Tebang. When we look at the river, the meandering of the river, we can imagine sort of how Wallace was traveling. Even though I don't think he traveled to that area, but we can imagine also similarly how he traversed the river, because he employed a lot of people at different points in time to travel around Sarawak using the river system. There were big rivers, small rivers, and then he employed Malays. He employed he mentioned Dayak and Sea Dayak. So and then different kinds of boats. So I think before coming here, it's very hard for us to imagine size of the river, like the Sararwak River nearer to Kuching is very different from the Sararwak River in Bau or in Pegala Tebang. So but it is the same river. So we can imagine maybe when he reached one point in time, he has to change another kind of transportation, another kind of boat, or he has to hire another kind of some other people, some Bidayu people or some Malay people to get him across. So I think all this it's we are trying to build pictures out of things we cannot get the original images from, and add to how we want to make our own images for the graphic novel. Going to Bau, we feel like we understand more of the early Chinese pioneers who came into that area, because he didn't describe so much the Chinese. He described in length about the Bidayu people, the land Dayak, a little bit of, and he also described the Chinese who were working in the coal mines in Simunjan, but he didn't mention anything about the Chinese or about Bau. Other than that, he has been there, and then everybody has written a lot about it. So I think, like for instance, the historical account of the uprising, the Bau uprising, Liu Sampang. This happened. The uprising happened actually 1 year after Wallace left. So I think we think even before when Wallace was there was something brewing maybe the tension between Raja Bro and the Chinese community in Bau, or maybe and then James Bro also mentioned he went there for Chinese New Year. We imagine he probably went there and then he got a big ang pao or something like that. We don't know. But we also imagine maybe the people who gave the ang pao wasn't very happy. So all these things start to come out. And then because Liu Sampang is a contemporary of Wallace, even though they might have met, I don't know, because he went to Bau, and then I think Wallace was being treated as a VIP wherever he goes, because his close connection, like he was a guest of James Brooke, so everywhere he goes, he I think was given VIP treatment. So I think Liu Sampang might have met up with him, or I don't know what the exchange was, but even if they didn't met up, they share the same space and time. So in a, I think, bigger context, something that Liu Sampang did influence whatever Wallace experienced there. When we stayed overnight at the apartment, we thought that how Wallace was spending a night at Santubong, because he stayed there during the rainy season. So first he went to Kuching to stay at James Brooke's house at the Kuching waterfront, and then later he moved to Santubong. This was during the rainy season, so he didn't have much opportunity to go and hunt for or collect insects he wanted, because it's very hard to capture insects at the rainy season. So he had a lot of time to reflect about how life came to be, or how animals evolved, how the terrain changed and it affected ecosystems. And it was during his time in Santubong that he wrote his first avowal to the theory of evolution. It's commonly known as Sararwak law. So this was a very important point, not just for Wallace but for evolution as well, because it is because of this paper that led him to his essay about theory of evolution. When Wallace was here, it was I think in March or April 1855. And he was here for about 5 months. He was collecting a lot of bugs and hunting for orang-utans. So he mentioned that the place he collected was at the coal mine, and the coal mine was situated nearby a mountain, a small hill. And when we were coming towards Santubong or on the road, we see it's very flat land. So I was thinking, where is the coal mine? Because we don't see hills so much like in Santubong or in Kuching. But he did mention that the whole area is quite flat and quite not dramatic. It's just a normal shrub kind of area where people, it's very hard to walk because it is constantly flooded most of the time, and they have to use either bamboo to put on the ground to use as walkways, and then he keeps on slipping on the bamboos because I think his legs are too big. He's not accustomed to walking on this kind of walkway. And then actually he slipped and twisted his ankle for some time, and then he has to, I think, rest for 2 months, where he lost a lot of opportunities to hunt for orang-utans. When he recovered, it was again rainy season, so he went to other parts of the Sandong River and went to the Bidayu house, Bidayu village, and also hunt other orangutan on other places. So coming here, we feel we can, even though it has changed a lot, this whole environment, even the coal mines has changed a lot, but we can sense that the landscape still remains somewhat the same because we see the houses, a lot of the kampung houses are still on stilts. So we can imagine, when the rainy season comes, a lot of the places will be flooded. So it gives us like a mental image to imagine back how it used to be like. And when we were speaking to the Kapitan at the coffee shop, he said that when he was young, he can see orang-utans, can still see orang-utans, and he sees quite a lot. And we asked him how much actually, but he just said quite a lot. But now, about 30 years ago, this was, but now he cannot see any more orang-utans. So when Wallace was here, almost immediately, I think a week after he came, he hunted his first orang-utan, and then a few days he hunted another orang-utan, and then a few days another orang-utan. So I can imagine back then there is a lot of orang-utans in this area. So it is it's almost towards the end of our journey, and it's a bit sad because it's sad because our adventure is almost over but also we are thinking about the orang-utans. There is, I think, don't think there is any more here, or even if there is, it is very, very, very few. So from Wallace's time, where he came here because of the abundance of wildlife, until now where we are much more modern, but a lot of the natural resources we have has been lost. So yeah, we feel a bit sad about that.
So with that, the lovely couple got a feel of the places that Wallace had been to. It's time to go home and incubate the ideas they got from this visit for the project. Thank you for watching this video.